Okay, so we're going to go through some potential problems that you might have for ecology. Okay, so the first thing you might see um, is a problem like this, which is asking you to describe the different levels of organization. So just a reminder, like a population is a group of organisms of the same species. An ecosystem is all the living biotic and non-living abiotic. And the biosphere is the area in the earth that contains life. So we're going to make this, I'm assuming, smallest to biggest. So we're looking for B on the inside, and then A, and then C. So that one is later born. This one is the correct answer. All right, so the second one is a population question. Remember, populations are a group of organisms of the same species. So population could be best represented by all of we have acorn barnacles on a rock. Different species, that one right away eliminates it because there's more than one species. Animals are many species and organisms are many species. So the answer is A. A is the correct answer. A particular species of freshwater mussel, which is a clam-like thing. You may see heard of zebra mussel in Lake Ontario, where it lives and breeds. These mussels are referred to, it's a population. Again, it's a particular species. That's the hint. Population is one species. Moss-covered log is overturned by a hungry bear looking for insects to eat. The bear disturbs an ant colony, and some chipmunks leave the hollow log in search of another home in the forest. Which relationship do these organisms have with each other? So now we're going up a level here. We've got bears, we've got insects, we've got, ants, chipmunks. So they're not of the same species, so that's out. They all require the same type of food. Yeah, that's out too. They're not abiotic. Remember, letter A in front of every word, any word makes it not or without. So this would mean without life. They're part of a community. Community is all the biotic factors, all the living things in an area. So diagram shows a milkweed plant. Here's a milkweed plant. And some of the insects that live on or visit it. Which term best describes a group of organisms in the diagram? So all of these together, we're not talking a biosphere because it's only a small area. Community, remember, it's all the living things in a given area, so that would be all these living things. A habitat is just a non-living thing, and a biome is much bigger than a community. So the answer is B. A pond community is represented in the diagram. Which term includes the interactions between the organisms of this community and the physical factors? So the community is the biotic, and the physical factors of their environment is the abiotic. We combine those together, we get to the next level up, ecosystem. So remember, our order is population, community, ecosystem. So population is one species, community is all the living things, and then an ecosystem is all the living and non-living things. Okay, number 7, information relating to an ecosystem is contained in the accompanying diagram. We got a little flow chart here. So remember, ecosystems include biotic and abiotic, both. So which one of these would be the biotic? Well, organism interactions, nutritional relationships, what they eat, who eats them, competition between various organisms. So those are the biotic things. And over here are the abiotic things. Water is non-living, gases, pH, soil, those are all non-living things. So that would be A, choice A. Animals in a South American rainforest and plants in an African desert all belong to the same, so they're in a rainforest. So we're not talking about a biome here because, they're in definitely different areas, and they're totally different areas altogether. Rainforest is different than a desert. Those are two biomes. So we're talking about biosphere, all the area of the earth where all life exists. Ecosystem is out because it's not the same physical factors. They're not in the same area. Well, they're not in the same area, so therefore the community would be different, and they're not of the same species. So that would be eliminate that. So again, biosphere. One biotic factor that affects consumers in an ocean ecosystem. Consumers are things that eat other things. So what would affect a biotic, a living thing? So let's look at it. Just by looking at that biotic factor, we can eliminate pH, that's not living, salt content, not living, temperature, not living, number of autotrophs. Now let's talk about autotrophs. Those are things that make their own food. In an ocean, the growth and survival of seaweed, small fish, and sharks depends on abiotic factors such as, so we're looking for non-living things. So what's something that contains all non-living things? Herbivores, that's a living thing. Decomposers, living things. Seaweed, living things. These are all non-living. Sunlight's non-living. Temperature is non-living. Minerals are non-living. Which biotic factor affects the size of a population in the specific ecosystem? Biotic factor, again, we're going to break that down. Living thing, it's going to affect the size of a population. The average temperature, that's non-living. A number and kinds of soil minerals, non-living. Number and kind of predators, well, that's living. Let's check out this one. Concentration of oxygen, non-living. So we're talking about C. These are all biotic factors here. Which is an abiotic factor that could affect the survival of organisms in an environment? Abiotic. We're getting into that term here. Biotic, abiotic. Abiotic, non-living. Well, algae is living. Inorganic substances in the substratum. Well, we know that inorganic substances are non-living. Earthworms are living. Bacteria is living, so therefore it's got to be B. So any of these biotic, abiotic factors, usually a process elimination. You can just eliminate the other. So like in this case, which is an example of changing biotic factor. So we're going to look for the abiotic factors and eliminate those. Seasonal changes in temperature, eliminate it. It's non-living. An increase in sunlight, eliminate it. It's non-living. Seasonal migration of birds, let's not eliminate that one yet. An increase in the usual amount of winter snowfall, can't eliminate that. So we're looking at C. An abiotic factor affecting the behavior of survival of such organisms such as robins and violets in the, so we're talking about abiotic factors. Population of rabbits, nope. Presence of harmful bacteria, nope. Number of herbivores, all three of those, A, C, and D, are all biotic factors. Length of daylight is abiotic. It's a major distinction between living and non-living matter. Living matter is unable to diffuse materials. Well, they are. Living matter is able to control chemical activities with organic catalysts. An organic catalyst is another name for an enzyme, if you didn't know that. Living matter is able to create energy. Nothing is able to create energy. That would not fit for either. Living matter is unable to use energy for metabolic activities. Well, that's not true. We do use energy for metabolic activities. So it's B. Okay, living matter uses and controls chemical activities with organic catalysts. They use enzymes. Fly larvae consume the body of a dead rabbit. Okay, they're consuming a dead organism. So the only thing, an organism that consumes dead organisms is a scavenger. Now, quick difference between scavenger and decomposer. Decomposer is going to also consume them, but it's going to recycle the materials back into the living, into the soil. So scavengers don't do that. They just eat it. They consume it. It's for their own purpose. An organism would be classified as an autotroph. Auto means self. Troph means feed. So these guys feed themselves. They do photosynthesis. So which one of these does photosynthesis? Mushroom? No. Bean plant? Oh, that does photosynthesis, yes. Segmented worm, frog? No. So the answer is B. Almost done. Knowledge of ecology would be used most directly in studying the, so we're talking about ecology is the interaction of living and non-living and living and living. So let's take a look here. Production of hormones and neurotransmitters, that's more of the human body. Current decline of bighorn sheep in the Rocky Mountains. So we're talking about living things and also in non-living. So this is a potential. Structure of subcellular organelles. No, ecology doesn't look at the subcellular. And biochemical nature of genetic transmission. Yeah, that looks like it's more along the lines of C and D, which would be in the cell. Okay, so we're looking at B. Number 20. If an algal growth in the lake increases, which organisms would be most immediately affected? Well, algae is a producer, so what's going to eat producers? Well, primary consumers will, so that would be this. That's the most immediate one. And last but not least, which title would be most appropriate for a textbook in on general ecology? Okay, again, ecology. So the interaction between organisms and their environment. That's a definition of ecology. How do organisms interact with each other, and how do organisms interact with their environment? Okay, cell and organelles, physical properties of water, heredity, none of those fit ecology. Okay, so that's going to do it. Thank you.